Is communication breaking down between parents and children? Because just a few hours ago, an angry teenager boy shot his mother dead because he was barred from playing the PUBG video game. It's not just one game. As you can see on your screen, there are different similar games that have cropped up. A video game leading to a murder. Now, preliminary investigation reveals that this teenager boy was agitated as his mother's constant interjections with his activities on a daily life, and then used his father's pistol to shoot at the mother. Now, PUBG, giving you a background, for example, was banned in India in September 2020 alongside several other Chinese applications. But its modified forms and similar other games have cropped up. Take a look now at the shocking report.
Addicted to PUBG and social media, a 16-year-old boy in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, shot his mother dead. The reason? His mother would stop him from playing the video game. Details of this game of death are chilling. The minor boy shot his mother using his army man father's pistol. He used a room freshener to hide the stench of the dead body for 2 days. After killing his mother, the 16-year-old called 2 of his friends to his house, ordered egg curry online and watched the movie Fukre. When his friends inquired about his mother, he said she was at his aunt's place.
जो इसका रूटीन होता है वो नॉर्मल जो रेगुलर रूटीन होता है वही फॉलो करता है। सुबह जाता है क्रिकेट खेलने, फ्रेंड्स के साथ जाता है, हैंग आउट करता है, बाहर जाता है, फिर आता है, शाम को आता है, कुछ फ्रेंड्स को लेकर के आता है, रात को ये लोग पार्टी करते हैं, मूवीज देखते हैं। तो ऐसा कुछ इस तरह से इसने किसी और को शक नहीं होने दिया कि इस तरह कोई घटना हुई है।
Police say the 16-year-old also threatened his younger sister. He locked her up as he stepped out the morning after killing his mother, acting as if nothing had happened. And while he fabricated the story about an electrician killing his mother, he later confessed to the murder.
लड़का एक स्टोरी बताता है कि एक इलेक्ट्रिशियन था जो कि क्योंकि वो मकान अभी बन रहा था, अर्धनिर्मित था, कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्क चल रहा था, तो उनमें वायरिंग का काम होता था। तो कह रहा था कि वो इलेक्ट्रिशियन जो है वो आता था और उससे संपर्क में थी, और जब ये इलेक्ट्रिशियन से कुछ बहस हुई और उस इलेक्ट्रिशियन ने आवेश में आकर के माँ को गोली मार दिया। जो लड़का जो स्टोरी बता रहा था उसमें कुछ लूपहोल्स मिले, उसके जो मोबाइल चेक किया गया उसमें कुछ चीजें ऐसी मिली जिससे कि शक की सुई उसकी तरफ गई, और फिर जो बच्ची थी उसको कॉन्फिडेंस में लेकर के पूछा गया तो बच्ची फिर टूट गई। फिर बच्ची ने कुछ चीजें बताई और फिर फाइनली जब लड़के से फिर कन्फ्रंट किया गया तो लड़के ने फिर कन्फेस किया।
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं था, बस ये था कि थोड़ा घुलता मिलता नहीं था किसी से बहुत ज्यादा, बस ये था कि जिसको जानता पहचानता था बस उससे ही बातचीत।
भी आए थे इसके यहाँ पार्टी करने, उनसे
पार्टी वोटी करने नहीं आए थे, और बच्चों को ऐसा कुछ नहीं था। जो आए भी थे वो अपने किसी दोस्त को बुलाया था, लेकिन वो उन लोगों से इसका कोई मतलब नहीं।
Gaming addiction in children can impact their physical and mental health. And like in this case, digital addiction can be very deadly. Bureau Report, India Today.
So how can one video game lead to a possible murder? And importantly, if you are wondering, what is this PUBG game? And clearly, there are many parents who are not aware of the details of this game. I'm going to take you through how this video game and similar ones like PUBG have become an addictive video game for our teenager population. PUBG actually is a short form. It's an acronym, stands for the Player Unknown Battleground. Now, this is an online multiplayer battle royale game. It's available on mobile, iPad, over the internet, on desktop. So what happens here? The player parachutes on an island, for example, and battles 100 players to survive a 30-minute game. Now, these 100 players can be from across the world. They can be friends, they can be strangers. They talk to each other, they're interacting, discussing, debating on how to progress further. So the player, when after landing on the island, needs to collect weapons, ammunition, medical kits to survive, basically, and you have to shoot at the other players. And if you are the last player standing, you have won the game. And clearly that is where, if you win, you get a psychological boost, feel in control. If you lose consistently, or your players are angry at you, or you're unable to exit from the game, it can make you psychologically depressed. Because remember, this is not a game played once. It's continuous, there's timeline, there's a pressure to succeed and survive, and you actually don't know who you're interacting with from across the world as players. And this one, in this tragic case, led to the murder of a mother. Abhishek Mishra joins me from Lucknow. Abhishek, because you've been tracking the details of this case, where is the investigation right now? Because the boy will likely be sent to now juvenile custody. But what are the police telling you? What did they find from the investigation? Because to any parent watching this right now, is absolutely disturbing and shocking.
Well, absolutely, Pooja. And this incident has risen a lot of questions about the kind of games which these teenagers are playing. And PUBG, you know, being a very popular, although it's banned in India now, but with the fact that how it has impacted, you know, a teenager has not even thought once before, you know, shooting his own mother. Now, as far as investigation is concerned, the police have got the evidences. They have recorded some evidences from the mobile. Also, the boy has accepted the fact that what he has done, and his sister, a minor sister, 9-year-old girl, has also, you know, afterwards spoke about it, what has been done. Now, what is very shocking is that the body was kept in the house for 2 days. The boy also tried to, you know, make sure that nobody gets aware about it. He was very casual in his body language, interacting with the friends, going out, coming in. All those things were happening. So it clearly shows that what kind of mental state he had. Now, the police, he's under the judicial custody now, in the police custody, and now, yes, of course, will be taken further as far as the law course of action is concerned. But it is a very shocking incident in Lucknow, and not just for all those parents who are much worried about the fact that what the children are doing on the mobiles or the laptop.
And it is important to understand that this is not just a video game. This is a daily activity that is being done, and it's not just the shooting which is worse. He hid the body for 2 days, orders anda curry, invites friends home. Nobody knows because he's perfumed the room where the corpse of his mother is kept. This also is talking about how dangerous this situation is becoming. Thank you so much for now, Abhishek, tracking all the latest. For now, of course, police is taking a lead into this. Now, if you thought that at this point, this is the only incident, my research showed there have been at least 6 incidents of a similar nature in the past 2 years. Let me now take you through how these video games are becoming killer games. Let's begin, of course, recently is June 22. That's the case we are talking about. A 16-year-old boy kills his mother for not playing, at least one of the reasons, to not let him play the PUBG. But then, just go a few months in the background. April 2022 in Raigad, Chhattisgarh, 19-year-old boy hangs himself after the family consistently interrupts him playing the game and asks him to indulge in other activities. Just before that, in October 2021 in Jalgaon, Maharashtra, 17-year-old girl student died by suicide because she could not find an exit from the game. She was stuck inside. She did not know what to do, got her into a psychological commotion, and she died by suicide. In Bulandshahr, in July 2020, 2 years ago, a depressed young boy, a student, 16-year-old, depressed over losses, unable to succeed in the game, shoots himself. This is also about the access of weapons, real weapons, that these teenagers have. In January 2020 in Mathura, the boy hangs himself after his mother took away his mobile phone and drops it, which likely means that the phone was broken, he was unable to play the game. So he decided to then hang himself. Again, another suicide due to these interruptions over a video game. In Thane, in June 2019, a 15-year-old boy kills his brother because the brother was constantly interrupting him over the game, asking him wanting to study. In April 2019 in Hyderabad, a 15-year-old boy, another death by suicide after he was asked to focus on his studies by his parents. Now, we've all gone through, remember, this specific aspect of life. In our teenage years, we've also played video games. It was mainly for time pass. But now, are these video games turning killer, and why? Is it just the video game or something else is amiss? This incident, remember, reflects how there is a change that we're all witnessing among the teenagers in the modern society. If a 16-year-old can shoot the mother angry over these constant interjections, what does it mean? And importantly, what can you possibly do to ensure that the child does not get into that commotion? What are the experts saying? What is the current situation in this? My colleague Chaitri Narula gets you the details of the symptoms and possible solutions. Take a look, very important.
A 16-year-old wanted to play PUBG. The mother tried to stop the child. The child shot the mother dead with the father's licensed pistol. If you are left shell-shocked and wondering what happened here and even unable to comprehend how, you are not alone. This incident is shocking and exposes the real issue of gaming addiction.
When they're spending a lot of their time just playing games, and what happens is the brain starts kind of looking at the gaming scenarios more like a real scenario, and that's how the the reaction time comes across as, and that's how they start reacting. So this intense urge that they get to play the game is because of the release of dopamine. Now dopamine typically is a neurochemical that gets released when when we do something that really gives us pleasure. For example, eating a piece of chocolate would release a small amount of dopamine that gives us pleasure. But in some people, even gaming can hyper arouse the brain, causing release of high amounts of dopamine, leading to addiction.
Gaming is fun, but at what point does it become an addiction that can lead to violence and even murder of one's own mother if the game is taken away from the child or the teenager?
The person wants to spend all the time they can in front of the screen playing games, and when they are told not to play, there's a tendency to have this violent behavior or more of a withdrawal kind of a behavior where they become very restless and at times angry, and even start showing signs of irritability, anxiety, etc.
Not everyone who plays video games has gaming addiction. Some may just be very enthusiastic about it. But if you notice these telltale signs in your teens, consult a mental health care practitioner immediately. And there are ways to help your ward at home.
The other aspect is balance it. Balance it in a way that your social life with friends and family, your academic life, or your work life, your sleep-awake pattern, and no aspect of your life gets affected. If you take care of this, then you will not get addicted to it.
Experts believe there are ways to help your ward, and parents need to be extra careful about the content of the game always. Take your child or your teenager to a mental health care practitioner, and a qualified one, while at it immediately. There are several steps that you can take at home as well, like being supportive, monitoring the content, limiting their screen time, and many other things that you can do. But do not take this sitting down, is what experts have cautioned. In New Delhi, Chaiti Narula for India Today.
So here now I have 5 big questions. Remember, it cannot be just the video game that is at fault here. The 5 questions is 1. Should the government bring in more regulations on battle gaming? Specifically, this game, remember, PUBG, was banned on 3rd September 2020. And then it has resurfaced in different forms, even had an Indian version. Now coming into the families. What is the family responsibility? Do parents need to keep open communication with their children? What does that mean? Rather than force restrict that most parents are prone to doing, should the adults instead counsel, talk, take help of mental health experts if required, rather than force restrict or take away phones and mobiles right away? Now let's come to the schools that a lot of children study and take maximum hours in. Do the educational institutions encourage outdoor playing? That they should. To tell these young ones it is important to be outdoors and not be restricted in your room with an iPad or a mobile. Are we putting too much pressure on our children in this country, whether it is for education, whether it is to excel, that not just letting them enjoy in other activities, we are putting them in a corner, bracketing them? All of these are questions worth thinking.